Right, well, this is part of the show that I've been particularly looking forward to. We're very lucky to have Jono Bacon with us today. I think it's fair to say if there's such a thing as a Linux or FOSS celebrity, Jono is one of a handful of a few people that gets that title. So without further ado, Jono, your interrogation starts. I'm going to pass over to Roy, who's going to start off with the questions.
It's not really an interrogation. I'm actually very pleased to have Jono on the show. I've been using Ubuntu since the first release of the distribution. I started to use it in 2005, and I've been promoting the distribution, with exceptions where I was trying to instruct certain people who are using Ubuntu not to use Mono. I think lots of people misinterpret this and actually think I'm against Ubuntu, which is not the case. I actually care about Ubuntu, and this is why I express some concerns about certain decisions.
Right.
And I know there is the new release of Ubuntu, which I'm pretty excited about, because I should mention I currently record from Ubuntu. We actually do the recording of the show on a Ubuntu box. And there is the new release, which I hope you can introduce us to.
Sorry, the features of the new release?
Yes, not necessarily features. I think this is quite an unusual release.
Oh, yeah.
You can walk through some details.
Yeah, no, it's Natty has been a really interesting release, to say the least. I remember 6 months ago when we all formed together in Orlando at the Ubuntu Developer Summit, and as many people will know, Mark Shuttleworth got up and announced the proposal for us to move the default desktop experience to Unity, which is a desktop environment that's been really spearheaded by the design team in Canonical, but also the Iotana project, which is the community side of that. This, for me personally, it was, there was a lot of implications of this. I mean, it was risky on a number of levels because, we have a relationship with GNOME, and while we are still a GNOME distribution and we ship GNOME apps, and Unity is just a shell for GNOME, it's not a replacement by any stretch. There was naturally going to be some, for want of a better word, political discussions that naturally needed to happen. There was also a significant technical challenge. I mean, Unity was at that time was currently available for Mutter and Clutter, and it needed to be ported to Compiz. The development team found that Mutter and Clutter were not really performant enough for their needs. And there's a guy called Jason Smith who'd put together a bit of a tech demo of it working on Compiz, and it was already a lot quicker. So it was really a challenging cycle from all sides in terms of, there was this phenomenal technical challenge and in terms of delivering something solid, but also it's an uncertain time for a community and for a user base to change such a significant piece of the environment in a release. But I think it was my takeaway in the cycle is that, first of all, Unity and Ubuntu 11.04, everyone's got their own opinion about it, and that's fantastic. That's what software is all about. People have got different ideas and different perspectives. But there's a couple of things that I think are true in all scenarios. One is that the Natty release involved a ton of work from a lot of different people. And if there's one thing I've never had so much confidence in saying, is that everybody who contributed to Natty, both in Canonical and in the community, really worked incredibly hard to try and deliver the best value that they could in release. And towards the end, the people who were working on Unity were just pulling some insanely long days and trying to make sure that every bug that they could fix was in there. But the other thing is, I think it was important for us to deliver some innovation in Ubuntu. I mean, I'm not saying that GNOME's not innovating, but for a long time we've just been taking what the latest and greatest in the open source community and just delivering it in a easy to use distribution. And there's nothing wrong with that, and most distributions do that. But I'm actually really excited that we as an open source project are actually innovating on the desktop as well. And we're not just relying on upstream contributions. We're actually building a lot of this work ourselves as well. And I think that's really important to take desktop Linux to the masses.
Yeah. I was going to mention a point that I just occurred to me about an hour ago when I actually posted these to Identica. The articles that I see, they kind of echo the sentiment. But the point which Canonical was trying to address is that the Linux, or as they call it Linux, and not creating the GNOME desktop, they call it Linux desktop, is too hard for people to use, and therefore you had to prepare something that's easier to use. Now, I think there is here the implication then that Linux with GNOME 2 was too difficult, which I don't think is true. I think it's a bit of a myth. I think it's a matter of habits.
Yeah, I think a lot of it depends on users is such a broad term, and it's funny because so the caveat here is that I'm not a user interface designer or expert by any stretch. I have a casual interest in it.
I believe you have it passed with working with KDE in some sort of user interface study.
Yeah, I did some work with I got the KDE usability study going, and I spent some time doing some UI stuff. For example, the Jacosha project. My best buddy and I designed much of the UI for that. So I've always had what I'd refer to as a hobbyist interest, but I would never ever want to profess that my knowledge is in any way, empirical or should be listened to in any particular capacity. But I think in terms of users, like the term users is a highly overloaded term, because you've got people such as the three of us. We're open source.
It's better than consumer because it does suggest the person before the computer is actually using his computer and isn't consuming something from the computer. It's actually an active role.
Yeah. John, you've hit upon a bone of contention between me and Roy. I use the term consumer as well. Which,
right.
I'm fine with that term personally, but yes.
I think it's one of those things whereby you have people like the three of us who we have many similar traits. We're people who are interested in technology, and when people who are interested in technology generally will take a high degree of care about the specific technologies that they're really interested in. So I'll give you an example. Throughout this last cycle with Natty, there is a website called OMG Ubuntu, and people have got their blogs, and people are it's not uncommon for people to write something, and many people to see what they write these days, and that's wonderful. And every tiny detail would be excruciated over. People would have lots of opinion and interest. And that's great because a lot of these people are Ubuntu enthusiasts and general free software fans as well. But I think the thing is that some people would profess that these decisions that were being made were sometimes people would say that they're stepping in the wrong direction or they're not serving the needs of the community and whatever else. And the two areas in which I noticed a lot of this commentary was one is in the learnability of the system, and two is in who the system is designed for. So the latter was the most common one, some feeling that power users and people who were really interested in delving into the details of the technology were not really being catered for. And I think that, to be honest with you, I think that's a reasonable criticism to leverage towards Ubuntu these days. Yeah. Ubuntu has always gone after serving the needs of people who don't want to care about technology, people who want to just get on with their lives, and maybe their primary interest lies outside of computing. Back in the days when I joined Canonical nearly 5 years ago, it was easier to target the, for want of a better word, consumer side of the Linux enthusiast community. It was people like, who were just getting started, people who read Linux Format magazine, who want to learn how to use the apps, but they don't necessarily want to, delve into the details of make files and whatever else. And it was easier to cater towards those people. I think what's happened now is as Linux has expanded